Godzilla review, our first movie review, and what a good movie to start off than the kaiju cinematic universe that they've set here. Obviously, I am on Team Monke, on Team King Kong. Let's just jump into it. I really like this movie. They market this as a Kong versus Godzilla movie like Batman v Superman. And they do a pretty good job of handling these battles between these two kaiju monsters. These battles immediately seem a little bit more fair and balanced compared to the last movie, King of the Monsters, where it was Godzilla versus King Ghidorah. This battle seems a lot more fair. There's a lot more of a back and forth here. So it just seems more balanced. However, before I start praising this, let's talk about some of the bad things about this movie. The worst thing about this movie, just like how every other kaiju movie is the human characters. I could not care less about any of the people in this movie. They were really bad, especially these like two teenager characters. I think the lady was the girl. I don't even remember any of their names. The girl was from a previous movie, but I just could not care less about any of these characters. The only human character I actually cared about is the little girl who can communicate with the monkey, because she can communicate with the monkey. She is probably my favorite human character out of this entire franchise. There's not much to her. She doesn't speak. She only does sign language with the monkey. So, she is my favorite character and the only character I really cared about. Besides the monkey, in the beginning of this movie as well, it seemed kind of rushed. Like we were breakneck pace here. And it's understandable because they really need to fit a lot of things in this movie. It's 2 hours long. Sort of difficult to keep up with all the information that was being thrown down. There are also a couple scenes here that are just really, really stupid. Like, I know you're not supposed to take these movies seriously, but some of these scenes are so dumb. I'm not gonna name any particular scene, but some of them are really dumb. Another thing about this movie that's pretty bad is the comedy. The comedy is really bad in this. I think they tried to go for a MCU style of comedy, but it wasn't funny at all. Nobody laughed at the theater at any of the jokes. I don't think I laughed once. So the comedy also was kind of bad. However, those are really the only negatives that I have about this movie. And now we can get to the positives. The biggest positive about this movie is the monkey. They really do a good job at humanizing a giant King Kong. Really make good connections with the audience. He really is the sort of main character of this movie if you put aside all the human stuff. And despite being a giant monkey, you feel for Kong in some of these scenes. Another thing they do really well in this movie are the fight scenes. Now, I haven't seen King of Monsters in a long time, but I do think this is probably the best fight scenes you will see in a monster movie. We already talked about how these two matchups seems very balanced compared to the previous one. But, I mean, these fight scenes are just great, The monkey is just jumping off buildings, There were so many, funny moments in these fight scenes. Like, I think at one point, King Kong drop kicks Godzilla. I mean, if that is not worth the price of admission to watch this movie, then I'm not sure what is. King Kong, jumps off from a building and then does a dropping elbow move on Godzilla. It's just incredible. It's watching a wrestling match. There are points where you're like, monkey number one, and then, the monkey begins to sort of get clawed and whiplashed across, and you're like, no, monkey, no. Fight back, monkey, fight back. It really does a good job to make it seem like any one of these characters can win this battle. There was one smaller negative that comes from one of these larger characters. I can't say it here because it will bring up a spoiler, but there was a design here for one of the characters that I just don't like that gets newly introduced here. So we'll talk about that more in spoilers. Overall, I had a lot of fun watching this. When these fight scenes started with the monsters, I was just chanting in the theater of monkey. Like, it really does involve you in the action of the movie. I think the best way to watch this movie is to just skip all the human parts and just watch all the big monster battles, because that's when it's really going all out and really a great movie. I just want one of these movies to just be an all-out monster battle with no real plot, just a bunch of fun that makes no sense. Sneeze. I would give this overall a 8 out of 10. The human parts just really drag this down, and some of the stupid moments as well, sort of like, really, okay, that's really dumb. But 8 out of 10 for this movie. Let's talk about spoilers. I'll give you time to click off the video now. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's talk about spoilers. I think the biggest thing about this movie is Kong actually loses in this movie. Kong almost dies, in fact, in this movie from Godzilla. Godzilla does beat Kong, but it sort of gets made up for in a little bit. Now, the big reveal in this movie is Mecha Godzilla. And this is what I was saying about how I didn't like the design of a new character. He kind of looks dumb, Mecha Godzilla, he really does. I don't know what they were going with him. He doesn't really look like Godzilla. But they do a really good job of making Mecha Godzilla look like an absolute badass, overpowered guy. He's destroying Godzilla. He's like Eren Yeager, smashing down the Jaw Titan in Attack on Titan Season 4, just absolutely demolishing him with no real care. The whole thing is that this Mecha Godzilla has been... His sort of conscious is King Ghidorah's conscious, because they use King Ghidorah's skull as like a power source, and somehow King Ghidorah can now control Mecha Godzilla. Really dumb, but you just go along with it because why not? And so that's sort of Mecha Godzilla. That's sort of the ending of the movie. However, let's go back through the movie. The entire plot with King Kong is they go with the hollow earth theory, that the core of the earth is actually hollow, and there is an entire ecosystem of living creatures and plants down there. And in this case, they are giants. Now, they are very clear by the fact that King Kong's sort of monkey race came from this area, but I'm not sure if Godzilla came from here. I know King Ghidorah came from space. It's a little unclear if Godzilla just was sort of on the surface level, but this is how they keep essentially both Kong and Godzilla alive at the same time. Godzilla is sort of the king of the surface, and Kong is the king of the core. Another thing I really like with Kong here is they actually make him like a proper gorilla, like he's learning sign language. This is a smart Titan. And I think they really do a good job in the fight scenes showing how different Kong is from Godzilla, because Godzilla is like a tank, but Kong is more agile, and you see that he's like jumping from building to building, getting the height advantage on him, pulling things away from building and using them as like a rock to smash over Godzilla's head. They really do a good job differentiating these two titans. They aren't the same thing. They clearly have different personalities and different ways of fighting each other. One thing I also like about Kong is sort of how chill he is. He's so chill in this movie. The human characters by the beginning of this movie have already sort of contained him in this area, and he just doesn't care. He's just sort of like going around with his life like it doesn't matter. And then, they bring him on the ship where he's in chains, and he's just like, oh, I guess I'm in chains now. He just doesn't care. You gotta admire that about him. Now, one of these very stupid scenes I mentioned in the negatives is with the two teenage characters and this apex monarch conspiracy theorists here. They're trying to guess the password at the end of the movie, and they fail. And their solution was to get the technology wet, and then Mechagodzilla can freeze for a brief second, and then that's when the monsters can get a one-up on him. I just think that's really, really dumb, and it makes really no sense. As if Apex, this hyper-technological, advanced organization, hasn't figured out a way to waterproof their technology yet. I mean, how my smartphone can do that. Now, I mentioned that Godzilla beats King Kong here, and yeah, he nearly kills King Kong, and they need to bring King Kong back by sort of jump-starting his heart again, using Apex technology. And so he brings back King Kong, and then now King Kong and Godzilla team up on Mechagodzilla, sort of like Batman v Superman. And King Kong makes up his loss. Or in my eyes, he makes up his losing to Godzilla by beating Mechagodzilla. King Kong uses this like little special axe that he has to sort of chop up Mechagodzilla into little pieces. And the entire time that was happening, I started screaming about how Monke is number one and Monke is strongest. So like King Kong whips off his head and he shows the head, and he's just like roaring and stuff, and it's like, oh my god, King Kong number one. It was really fun seeing King Kong demolish Mechagodzilla. Now we can talk about sort of the primary antagonist of this movie. They are called Apex. They are this super high-tech organization, and the founder, the CEO, he's like, oh, these titans, they took away humans' power, and now humans are going to take it back by basically making a more powerful Godzilla so that humans can retake the Apex Predator label. So that's sort of his goal. He's like, he's not anything memorable. I don't even remember his name, and you can see it from a mile away that he's going to be the bad guy. His like final words before he died was, oh shit. That's not even a joke, that's actually his last words, so you could really see you aren't supposed to take this seriously. But he was fine. He was the guy who made Mechagodzilla, and so that is serviceable. And so this movie ends with Godzilla and Kong alive. Godzilla sort of just returns home into the water, and Kong just goes back underground, and even there, humans are still watching over him, and once again, Kong doesn't care. There is an open to possibility of more movies, but I'm unsure if they are going to make more movies. I will watch every movie that they come out with, so we will see towards the future. And that is the end of this video. I love as much as Monke, though. Bye bye.